Hey guys, welcome back to day 15. We're actually talking audio again as I really messed up on, what was it, day 12 or something like that. I really messed up my audio and I showed you guys how I was trying to edit audio and I did a really bad job. So today I gotta speak words first before I can edit the audio. Proper grammar, I guess. That's lesson number 1. Use proper grammar. All right, but really, let's dive in. So yeah, today we're all more about clarity of the audio. So I was really struggling yesterday to get good clarity, and I was like, I just can't find a good source, like a good YouTuber or like even course. I was like, I gotta get my audio figured out, and I could really work on audio during this challenge. So I found a great video on clarity. Actually, a couple of them. I'm kind of compiling them all into this video. It's going to be a quick one. After I'm done talking here and just talking your ear off. But it's by Jason Yadlavosky or something like that. I can never remember his last name. But I forgot. I wasn't even subscribed to his channel, surprisingly. He did a bunch of audio stuff when I first started out that I used to watch. But it wasn't like super in depth. I feel like maybe he was still learning, but I was checking out his more recent stuff and I've been like huge fan. So I will link, if I can find both videos, I'll link those below, but just check out his channel. That's where I'm gonna be going for my audio stuff from here on out. He uses DaVinci Resolve, so it's super easy to kind of like transition to, because every audio editing platform like Pro Tools, DaVinci Resolve, has a different layout, calls things slightly different names. So it's great to kind of see, and they have different ways of editing audio. So it's great to see his channel and really dive into that as well. So yeah, let's dive in. Let's hop into Fusion here, and then we're gonna go back to the video that I edited, let's see, was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday, wow. Yesterday when I did the studio edit. So let's jump in. All right, let me see what corner I'm gonna be in. I think I like this corner up here because I do all my stuff live, makes my workflow a lot easier for these 21 days. So, 21-day challenge. If you guys didn't know, I'm doing a 21-day challenge. All right, so here is the, I'm gonna solo this audio track 3, which is what I had yesterday for when I was doing handheld, and it was not a great mic. It wasn't this dynamic mic that I have right here. It was like this like tiny Sennheiser kind of like, I don't know if you can even call it a shotgun mic kind of deal, but yeah, it wasn't great, and I was speaking on the back of it, so it was like picking up a lot of my reverb off the walls that I was speaking towards. So it doesn't sound great. Let's listen to it, what I had yesterday, and then I'll redo the edit I just kind of did, and I will remove all my audio effects that I kind of like. I did a real quick audio edit. Like, this was super quick. This effect is really quick, so let's kind of listen. Switcher board right here, and then we got these 2 podcast mics. The mouse, this is kind of like my whole mic. And there's that tube right there. So that sounds pretty bad, right? So let's listen to the audio edit. I did do it quick, and it was like literally took me under 5 minutes to do this. Okay guys, hopefully I'm decently exposed right now, and the softbox that's directly facing the desk is right here. So we have this softbox. Right till it flips around. I edited for that. It's casting a lot of light, so the softbox there. And then so I edited for this. For like monitoring, and I got 2 monitors over there too. So this is my basement basically. And then this is actually the side you haven't seen. This is like our podcast setup. So I feel like sitting over here. Let me turn this up. Like my wife and I want to do a podcast, do something like this, probably more zoomed in. Actually, we'd probably have 2 cameras, one facing, I don't even know how I would do that. See, it's not a pretty backdrop there. Let's listen to the bad one again. Kind of accepted the fact that it's okay to see something like that. Do you hear that echo and reverby, and then my audio is crisp? Actually looks all right, kind of cool. Maybe a little bit muddy too. So let's get rid of all that. Let me show you how we're gonna do it. Right. So this is I have these 2 audio tracks. I'm actually going to create another one. See if I can kind of match it. So audio track 8. So we're gonna go into 8 and we're gonna edit it. We're gonna start at that one from scratch, right? So let's play the audio on that. Used to be a cyclist, got a bunch of those, MSU Denver thing. That's a giant hole in my wall I just did. I've been trying to remodel my All right, so now we've got 8. We're going to go in, and first thing you want to do when you're editing audio, at least from my understanding, I'm not an audio expert by any means, as you saw on day 12, but I am learning, and I'm dedicated to learn during this 21 days how to do audio better. So EQ. EQ is the first thing you're going to want to do, okay? This is going to make the biggest difference. So if you guys want to replay a section, so let's actually kind of replay. Let me close this window here so you guys can see. So if we want to replay a section like right here, maybe like where I have this in and out. So you're going to hit I for in. I already have one down. And then out. So you're going to hit O. Okay? And that's going to create this little box right here. So if I wanted to extend it, I just go O. O. Okay. So I and O. But now, how do you play it back? Well, you got to make sure you're on this loop deal right here. And you're going to hit Options. That you guys typically see facing this way, right? It's going to start playing. That's my editing computer over there, typically, like my desktop. And I use a 55-inch QLED TV for like monitoring, and I got 2 monitors over there too. So this is my basement, basically. And then this is actually the side you haven't seen. This is like our podcast setup. So I feel like that you guys typically see facing this way, right? If I hit back options, that's my editing computer. If I hit options / it'll go back to the very beginning. So I'm gonna have to like pause it and then play again. So you're not going to see it repeat probably a whole lot, maybe every once in a while. But I want to kind of talk about what I'm doing really quick as I'm doing it. So we want to go over here to band 5. So band 5, human vocals, from my understanding, sit about 3,000. Like the majority of our vocal range is about 3,000 to up to almost 8,000. I think I've heard that before, and I just forgot it or something, but I heard it in his video again. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. So we're going to take 5, and we have it on this weird little fork looking thing. I always think it looks like a tuning fork of some sort. I guess that is kind of what a tuning fork looks like. Maybe not as wide. But you're going to have it clicked on that, and then you're going to be able to adjust it. So now it will kind of do this thing, right? And if you adjust, you can adjust gain, so that makes it go up and down. You can adjust the Q factor, which will make it wider or narrower. So let's just listen. And we want to raise it up. So we want to raise our vocal frequencies up so we get that. So that's our first step. Do options. That you guys typically see facing this way, right? That's my editing computer over there, typically, like my desktop. And I use a 55-inch QLED TV for like monitoring, and I got 2 monitors over there too. So this is my basement, basically. And then this is actually the side you haven't seen. This is like our podcast setup. So I feel like sitting over here, like my wife and I want to do a podcast. That sounds pretty good. And one thing I forgot we want to do actually is we don't want to raise anything up. We actually want to lower things first. So we're actually going to disable this real quick. That's the nice thing about the equalizer in DaVinci. You can kind of just hit that and disable it. We're going to re-enable band 6. So this is our low pass filter. So high passes and low passes will get rid of those extreme noises on either end. So we're going to drag this guy in just a little bit. I'm going to start probably right around 14,000 and then kind of work my way in. Like this, probably more zoomed in. Actually, we'd probably have 2 cameras, one facing, I don't even know how I would do that. See, it's not a pretty backdrop there, but I've kind of accepted the fact that it's okay to see some of like that. I think it actually looks alright, kind of cool. Used to be a cyclist, got a bunch of those, MSU Denver thing. Did you see how I kind of went too far and then came back? So I definitely advise going a little too far, come back. Same thing with color grading, right? So with color grading, a lot of times you're pushing it too much just to kind of see the extreme, and you kind of dial it back. All right, let's go into band 1, and this is our high pass, right? It's high pass. So high pass lets all the high frequencies through, right? So low pass will let all the low frequencies through. So you pick a point, and you're like, okay, I don't want any of these frequencies coming through. And then you can have a more aggressive slope on all of this as well. I don't think DaVinci's equalizer lets you do that, but I'm pretty sure Pro Tools equalizer will, because I'm pretty sure the audio guy at my work uses it all the time, like changes the slope and stuff. So we're going to listen with this one too. This one, you can probably start around 80 and go from there. Some audio experts are like, yeah, 80 is good. That's a good place to go. But I've heard 120 can be pretty good. And the Jason guy actually goes upwards of like 150 or something like that, or 160 sometimes. I probably wouldn't push it that far, but let's listen. That's a giant hole in my wall I just did. I've been trying to remodel my house. We just put the pellet stove in. So this guy, like over fall, That vents upstairs to our bedroom, so that hole in the wall. I'll put a grate over that eventually. Hope you guys can hear me well enough. I'm right behind the mic. I kind of like it 120. It can depend on the voice. Like if you have a deeper voice, you're obviously going to be sitting more in that lower range, right? Okay, so we've got all that done. So now we need to go into, we're going to mess with band 2, band 3, and band 4 now, okay? So with these, what you want to do first is not raise them up like I did. We actually want to hit this little like dealio here. It looks, I don't know, what does it look like? An eyeball? I don't know. The little circle dealio. So it's basically going to create a bell curve, right? And then you're going to go into here, and I like to move all these Q factors before I start doing anything. So they're all pointy, right? Now we're going to have to listen. So let's drop these down to a normal range here. And we're going to listen for really unpleasant sounds. You're going to boost them, right? And then you're going to drop them down after that. So options, backslash. That you guys typically see facing this way, right? That's my editing computer over there, typically, like my desktop. And I use a 55-inch QLED TV for like monitoring, and I got 2 monitors over there too. So this is my basement, basically. And then this is actually the side you haven't seen. This is like our podcast setup. So if you're like sitting over here, if you use the control wheel, like you just hover over it and use the control wheel, you can widen it or narrow it up and down on the control wheel. You gotta hover over the thing though. So I'm gonna widen that just a little bit, but I don't like to drop this first one down a whole lot because like I have a deeper voice, right? So I don't know, maybe just my voice, but I haven't really historically have not dropped this down super far. I don't like dropping it down very much. The second one, this middle one, which is gonna be, this is about, so once it's typically around 400. The next one's about 800, and the next one's 2,000. So I could even just put them there, and we're probably pretty close now. This one I typically drop the most. I feel like it's the very bodily kind of sound. So that you guys typically see facing this way, right? That's my editing computer over there, typically, like my desktop, and I use a 55-inch QLED TV for like monitoring. I feel like that one's it's a little more at about a K. That you guys typically see facing this way, right? That's my editing computer over there, typically, like my desktop, and I use a 55-inch QLED TV for like monitoring, and I got 2 monitors over there too. So this is my basement, basically. And then this is actually the side you haven't seen. This is like our podcast setup. So if you're like sitting over here, like my wife and I want to do a podcast, do something like this, probably more zoomed in. Like we'd probably have 2 cameras, one facing, I don't even know how I would do that. See, it's not a pretty backdrop there, but I've kind of accepted the fact that it's okay to see some of like that. I think it actually looks all right, kind of cool. Used to be a cyclist, got a bunch of those, MSU Denver thing. That's a giant hole in my wall I just did. I've been trying to remodel my house. We just put the pellet stove in. So this guy, like over fall, that vents upstairs to our bedroom, so that hole in the wall. I'll put a grate over that eventually. Okay, now that we have it all set up, I like to switch them on and off to see if I did a good job or not. Because you'll be able to tell. It'll sound just, it might, if it sounds better when you switch it off, then undo everything and redo it all again. All right, let's switch it on and off. That you guys typically see facing this way, right? That's my editing computer over there, typically, like my desktop, and I use a 55-inch QLED TV for like monitoring, and I got 2 monitors over there too. Sounds a little bit cleaner to me. Like if you're doing a lot of stuff outdoors, I feel like the EQ really helps sometimes. Like we really gets rid of like the wind noise and all that. So we have to bring back band 5 though, right? So let's bring back band 5 and try it. That you guys typically see facing this way, right? That's my editing computer over there, typically, like my desktop, and I use a 55-inch QLED TV for like monitoring, and I got 2 monitors over there too. So this is my basement, basically. And then this is actually the side you haven't seen. This is like our podcast setup. So if you're like sitting over here, like. Okay, so I try to narrow down 5 quite a bit because I feel like I want that low pass still. So we're gonna narrow it down even more. Let's try that. My wife and I want to do a podcast, do something like this, probably more zoomed in. Actually, we'd probably have 2 cameras, one facing. And we can do the bell shape curve on this one too, where you go to there, and then you can maybe widen it out a little bit more. I don't know. Let's do that quick. Just try it. I don't even know how I would do that. See, it's not a pretty backdrop there, but I've kind of accepted the fact that it's okay to see some of the, like that. I think it actually looks alright, kind of cool. Used to be a cyclist, got a bunch of those, MSU Denver thing. That's a giant hole in my wall I just did. I've been trying to remodel my house. We just put the pellet stove in. So this guy, like over fall, that vents upstairs to our bedroom, so that hole in the wall. As you can see, it sounds a little better, so that's great. So now we can add things like compression or whatever on it. So that's how I kind of EQ things or I don't normally do this, but that's my new EQ. I do normally do like this 2, 3, 4. That's pretty standard for me. I've done that plenty enough, and I typically do a high pass filter. The new things that I kind of learned today was this portion right here. We kind of raise up these vocal ranges here to kind of make your voice pop a little bit more. And then this, and I also learned that you can maybe push this band 1 just a little bit more than I normally do. Like, let's just try it. I'll put a grade over that eventually. Hope you guys can hear me well enough. I'm right behind the mic. But yeah, that's this is my stop pre-post. I don't know if you guys ever saw this. You guys probably haven't seen it close up. I'm trying to put more stuff on this wall, but you gotta be careful because the pellet stove, obviously hot. Personally, I like my voice probably sounding a little bit deeper. Because, I mean, it's not like a super deep voice. I don't know. Is my voice deep? I don't know. I feel like there's definitely way deeper voices than mine. But I like my voice sounding a little bit deeper. So I'm going to keep that about 120. I kind of like that 124 where it's at right now. I just think it sounds clearer that way. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, or maybe it sounds, maybe I like that podcasting voice, right? Like this microphone kind of gives me that deeper voice as well. Like naturally, if we kind of listen to it, you'll hear that. And then the next thing I might do is I might just do a little bit of compression. So I might do that real quick, just because I feel like this video is pretty much done. That you guys typically see facing this way, right? That's my editing computer over there, typically, like my desktop, and I use a 55-inch QLED TV for like monitoring, and I got. Okay guys, hopefully I'm decently exposed right now, and the softbox that's directly facing the desk is right here. So we have this softbox that it's casting a lot of light, so softbox there, and then desk there, wall there. So it's casting a lot of light back on that wall, obviously. And it's, look at it, like, ooh, oh, just hit Pelican case. See how it's just pointing like directly at that wall? That's Pelican case I hit. That's Nala. That's Malos. This is my messy floor. As you can see, my cable management could be a lot better. Got all my stuff running into my. Okay, so I'm liking that right now. So that's kind of my like real basic edit that I've learned over time, and then I learned a couple of new things today. So just kind of wanted to show you guys. It does sound a lot better. I'll just play it. Let's play all three of them. Let's play the one I edited before, see if I like it. And then this final one too. And I can even add just a little bit of voice isolation to make it even a little bit more crisp. But don't overdo your voice isolation. It always comes in, this voice isolation thing right here, always comes in way too intense. So 100%. So you don't want 100%. You want, I maybe go like 20 most of the time. That's such a really bad noise. My switcher board right here. And then we got these two podcast mics. The mouse, this is kind of like my whole setup that you guys typically see facing this way, right? That's my editing computer over there, typically, like my desktop, and I use a 55-inch QLED. You guys can definitely hear the one I edited before I learned this technique, or the simple little thing. But the EQ has been the bane of my existence for the longest time. But I finally feel like I'm getting the hang of it a little bit. So hopefully I can keep improving that EQ and understand it better. It's just like, it's a science by itself, like knowing all the frequencies of everything. Like, I can't even imagine EQing instruments. Let me switch back over. I can't imagine EQing instruments, and like, just the vocals is hard enough. Like with different voices and stuff, you can kind of see the differences. Different microphones, you got to EQ differently with a different, like a lav mic, typically, yeah, it sounds like, from my understanding, like super muddy, and like, it's because it picks up everything, very omnidirectional, right? So and it's like super echoey because it's omnidirectional, but like, I can't imagine being audio. I can see why you need audio experts now. Before I was kind of like what do they do? But then like just the EQ by itself, I'm like, you need an expert for that. You need somebody, like you could study EQ for 4 years, 5 years, and you're still not an expert, like from my understanding, like how I feel about EQ, especially if you're EQing instruments and other sounds and stuff like that. You just gotta know where it's hitting, and you gotta be able to listen super well and train your ear. I'm still working on training my ear. These headphones aren't the best either, I feel like. So my headphones at work, I feel like a lot better, the Audio Technica ones. Love to get some of those ones, honestly, so I could hear my sound a little bit better. But yeah, that's my general overview to kind of clean up your audio and by using an EQ. So hope you guys liked this video a lot better than my last audio video. I hope I did it right this time. I ran it all through the switcher board again. I didn't split the audio. So there might be a lot of compression on the final one, because I might have a huge discrepancy in my voice and what's coming through the computer. I try to match it by ear a little bit. So we'll see. All right. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Catch you later.